Aaron Judge is currently in the biggest slump of his entire life, but he got out of it in style yesterday against the Red Sox. The Orioles and the Rays, they're about to engage in their own duel of fates. Shout out to all you Star Wars fans out there. But Tampa Bay, they're trying to steal back first place. Corey Seager, he might be creeping up on Ohtani. He could steal a few votes from Mr. Shohei, and the Blue Jays season, it is crumbling right before our very own eyes. I kind of feel bad for the fan base. All of that in today's MLB recap. We do this almost every single day, so stick around, hit that subscribe button, and also use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off. Now, before we talk about all of the games from yesterday, we have a few updates on players that need Tommy John or they have injuries to their UCL. Jason Dominguez, it has been confirmed that he's going to be missing the next 9 to 10 months with Tommy John surgery. And Sandy Alcantara, the 2022 NL Cy Young, he's probably going to be missing the remainder of 2023 with a sprained UCL. Now, the sprained UCL can either go one of two ways. One, Phillies prospect Andrew Painter, he sprained his UCL, he needed Tommy John. Now, another guy, a rookie starting pitcher for the A's, Mason Miller, he sprained his UCL, but he was back in 4 months. He did not need surgery, so hopefully Sandy does not need surgery. He'll be back before you know it, but he's probably going to be missing the rest of 2023, and that makes me really sad. So because we just talked about Sandy, let's talk about his team, the Marlins. Yuri Perez and Miami, they were trying their best to keep fighting in the wild card, and it started off pretty good because Yuri, he was carving through 3 innings. He only allowed a measly little sac fly in the 4th inning, but Miami, they got that run right back. But in the 5th, yeah, that's what did Yuri and the Marlins in. He allowed multiple base runners to get on, and then Milwaukee, they took full advantage. Tyrone Taylor, he doubled in Monasterio. Sal Frelick, he followed up with a double of his own. Tyrone, he ended up with 2 RBI doubles on the night, and Devin Williams, he earned his 34th save. Devin Williams has basically been unhittable for 2.5, 3 seasons now. Now, before we talk about the Rangers and the Jays game, I gotta find the Cincinnati and Arizona games because both the Reds and the Diamondbacks are a half game ahead of the Marlins, so a win would be huge for both teams. Now, Detroit, they bodied Cincinnati, though. You saw Kerry Carpenter make it 1-0, and then the bad man, Akil Baddoo, he turned on and pitched for his 10th home run. Reese Olson, he was impressive yet again with a sick outing. He struck out 7 Reds over 6 innings, only 2 base hits allowed. One of those was on a home run to Spencer Steer, who now has 21 home runs. That dude rakes. Torkelson, he got that run back, and yeah, that'll do it. Matt Vierling hit one of the furthest grand slams of the last few years, 450 feet to the Tigers. They beat the Reds 8-2. Now, after this game, social media, they kind of went crazy on Elly de la Cruz because multiple outlets, they were spamming that he's overrated. Now, mind you, this was after a game in which Elly de la Cruz took 2 walks and he stole his 28th bag, but over his last 20 starts, yes, he's hitting 158 with 0 home runs. Can I remind you guys that Elly de la Cruz is 21 years old? Aaron Judge in his first season hit 179. Mike Trout in his first 40 games hit 220. Elly de la Cruz is one of the most talented young players in baseball, but again, he's 21. Baseball's a hard sport. Give him some time. So the Marlins stay a half game back of the Reds for that final wild card spot. So an Arizona win would put them in the playoffs. They would kick the Reds out because they lost to the Tigers. But Kodai Senga and the Mets, they had Cincinnati's back. RBI doubles from Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso helped support Kodai Senga, who is having one of the best rookie seasons ever. Now, I'm going to show Kodai's full highlights without interruption, but I want to do that in just a second. Let's get the offense out the way. DJ Stewart drove home another 2 RBIs, and Jeff McNeil, he has been so much better in the second half. That's a 2-run home run. Okay, Kodai Senga time. This dude struck out 10 snakes. He allowed just 2 base hits over 6 shutout. He lowers his ERA to 2.95, and he has 191 strikeouts over 155 innings. He could become the 3rd rookie starting pitcher ever to have a sub-3 ERA and an 11 strikeouts per 9 in a single season. He would join Dwight Gooden and Hideo Nomo, some of the best rookie seasons we've ever seen. Now, he's not going to win Cy Young, but he's for sure going to finish in the top 3, 4, or 5. You have Francisco Alvarez with an RBI double, Jonathan Arauz with a 3-run home run. The Mets, look at them. They've won 3 games in a row. So New York embarrasses Arizona, which means the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Marlins, they all stay in the same place as they were. The Giants, the Reds, and the Diamondbacks are all tied for that final wild card spot. And Miami, they're a half game back of all 3 of those teams. So the NL wild card, again, like we've mentioned plenty of times, it's mayhem. Jays fans, you might want to cover your ears for this next recap. Toronto got swept in Toronto. Corey Seager and Vladdy, they both traded home runs, and Vladdy's was a 2-run moonshot. Where were you on the day that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finally pulled a baseball? Seager, he came up clutch again just an inning later. He pelted a 2-run double the other way, reclaiming the lead. That's 40 doubles, 31 home runs, and 92 RBIs. Corey Seager has done all of that while missing 43 games. His 1070 OPS would be the highest ever by a modern-day shortstop. A-Rod, he holds the record with a 1045 OPS. Jonah Heim, he has 17 home runs. And skipping to the 8th, Texas, they turned the faucet on and they left it on. They poured it on. Marcus Semien, an RBI double. Nathaniel Lowe, a 2-run single. The Rangers, they ended up with 9 runs, and they do sweep the Jays for their 6th win in a row. The Jays, they're now a full 1.5 games back of the playoffs. Toronto, they're bottom 10 in team ERA over the last 2 weeks, and they needed Kevin Gausman to step up. Even he couldn't get it done. From one AL East team to a few others, this is easily one of the biggest series of the entire season. Tampa Bay versus the Orioles. Tampa Bay, they come into this one just 2 games back of first place. So if we do some quick maths, a win will get them back to 1 game of first place. Baltimore, they're number 1 in batting average over the last 2 weeks, so it's not going to be easy. Did you see that grab from Cedric Mullins? He can go get it with the best of them out there in the outfield. Ryan O'Hearn, he keeps chugging along. He's got 13 home runs and a near 130 OPS plus, but that just made Tampa Bay upset. Brandon Lau, he tied it on a single, and then that motherfudger Randy Arozarena legged out a massive 2-run 3-bagger right after. He can smell the playoffs in the air, and we all know how good Randy is when it matters the most. I'm talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about the World Baseball Classic. Gunnar Henderson, he's pretty dang good too. The rookie now has 26 home runs, a 128 OPS plus, and an almost 6 WAR on Baseball Reference. Now Baltimore, they actually ended up tying it off of Aaron Savali. That was on a cheeky little RBI ground out. But oh my, Luke Raley to dead center. Most casual fans have no idea who Luke Raley is, but he's got 19 home runs and a 127 OPS plus. He's got 14 stolen bases and a cannon for an arm. Like, they stole him from the Dodgers. The Rays brought in Pete Fairbanks, and again, he's been Pete Unfairbanks as of late. He struck out the side again. He has 15 strikeouts over his last 6 innings pitched. The Tampa Bay Rays bullpen has not allowed a run in 34 consecutive innings. Tampa Bay is back to 1 game of first place, and it's going to feel a lot like Anakin versus Obi-Wan, but who has the high ground, the Orioles or the Rays? So the Red Sox fired their GM, Chaim Bloom, and then they celebrated by beating up the Yankees in Fenway. Now, all jokes aside, Chaim, he wasn't that bad. He even got this Wilyer Abreu kid in that Christian Vasquez trade. There was an RBI single. He also developed a pretty sick farm system. More on that in a second, because Tanner Houck, this dude tucked the Yankees in for bed. He struck out 7 Yankees over 6 shutout. He has some of the nasty, like, this is not me being dramatic. Tanner Houck has ace stuff, but the thing that he lacks is command. So without him being able to throw strikes, he can never be a top shelf starting pitcher. Ceddanne Rafaela, he can swing it. He also flies on the bases. He has 3 consecutive multi-hit games. Trevor Story ended this game with a long 3-run home run, and he really needed that considering he has a 42 OPS plus on the season. Maybe that's why Chaim Bloom got fired, because that Trevor Story contract looks awful right now. But then again, he did get Wilyer Abreu, and Wilyer rakes. He's hitting 370 with 10 RBIs in his first 17 games. And I'm not gonna lie, I really like his swing. It is beautiful. Now, New York, they had enough, and they showed that in the 2nd inning. DJ hit an RBI single, and Aaron Judge, he finally ended one of the worst slumps, if not the worst slump of his career. He came into game 2 hitting just 147 with 0 RBIs over his last 10 games. That's a great way to dig yourself out. He's got 32 home runs in 93 games. He has a 163 OPS plus even after that slump. Devers, he did Devers things. He's always going to hit a home run against the Yankees in Boston. They actually did tie it at 5 in the 7th inning, but then DJ LeMahieu, yet again, he started a little rally for the Yankees. That RBI double put the Yankees back up by 1, and Oswald Peraza, he is really heating up. A 2-run home run over the monster. This kid is hitting 375 with 6 extra base hits over his last 10 games. He just needed some time to cook. Speaking of cooking, the White Sox got cooked by the Twins, and this W for Minnesota all but cooks Cleveland season, because rookies Edward Julian and Royce Lewis, they popped off for solo home runs. Julian, he's got 13 home runs and a 130 OPS plus. Royce Lewis also has 13 home runs, but he's hitting 300 with a 139 OPS plus. There's another rookie, Matt Wallner, a 2-run single, who also has a 126 OPS plus. Minnesota, they just find rookies who have a 120 OPS plus all over the place. Shout out to Jose Miranda. He had to be sacrificed for this to happen. Kenta Maeda, he got hurt just once on a 2-run home run to Andrew Vaughn, but that happened all the way in the 7th. Maeda, he had 8 strikeouts over 7 innings, just 4 base hits allowed. Kirilloff had a 2-run single. And yeah, the Twins, they're 8 games ahead of the Guardians with 15 games left. This season's over for the Guardians. The Pirates and the Nationals starters Josiah Gray and Mitch Keller, they combined for 17 strikeouts in this game, but Josiah, he's going to take the unfortunate L. Jack Sawinski, he smoked his 25th home run, and Alfonso Rivas, he made it 2-zip, and that's how this game is going to end. Gray, he punched out 10 over 6 2/3, but Mitch Keller, he went 8 shutty on just 2 base hits allowed. He also struck out 7. Mitch Keller now has a 2.7 ERA ERA and 44 strikeouts over his last 39 innings, and that's with an 8-run implosion against the Braves last week, so he has been incredible lately. David Bednar, he grabbed his 35th save. The Pirates, they won 3 games in a row. Today's Immaculate Grid might be one that we can speed run, but before we do that, a quick update on the standings as well as stat leaders. Corey Seager, he's hitting 344. He is just behind Luis Arraez for the lead in MLB. Justin Steele, he is top 2 in wins and ERA, and he's pitching later today. So let me know in the comments, do you think that Justin Steele is going to reclaim his Cy Young favorite over Blake Snell? Matt Olson has 51 home runs. He is easily out in front in both home runs and RBIs. Emmanuel Clase, he's got 40 saves, but he's not been very good this year, in my opinion, as a Guardians fan. Hits, Ronald Acuna Jr. is 1 away from 200. Strikeouts, easily Spencer, strikeout Strider, and then stolen bases. Ronald has 66, so he's 3 home runs and 4 stolen bases away from a 40-70 season. So like we mentioned earlier, the Rays are just 1 game back of the Orioles in the AL East. The Orioles have lost 3 games in a row in the AL West. The Astros are still out in front by a half game. The Rangers are surging. They've won 6 games in a row. The Mariners, you can't count them out. They're only 1.5 games back. In the National League, everything's pretty much settled in terms of the division. I don't think that the Cubs are going to catch the Brewers, but that's just my opinion. But the Cubs are still in the playoffs via the wild card, and if we take a look at the wild card, the Marlins are a half game back of 3 teams. 3 teams are tied for that final wild card spot: the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Giants. Who's going to be the 3rd wildcard team? Let me know. And then obviously the Blue Jays, they got swept. They have lost 4 games in a row, so they're now a full 1.5 games back of the Mariners for that final AL wildcard spot. Today's Immaculate Grid, I'm going to try and get this done in under 1 minute. Here we go. Let's go. All right. Phillies and what was that guy's name? Palacido. He had a big helmet. Palacido, Polanco, I'm pretty sure he was on both teams. A Silver Slugger, Maglio Ordonez, MVP. I only know this because I play a lot of MLB The Show. Hal had an MVP card back. I think it was like MLB. I don't remember what it was. A Philly and a Cardinal. I have no idea. Maybe Scott Rowland. Was Scott Rowland? I can't remember. Silver Slugger. I'm going to go Matt Holliday because I kind of want a good rarity score. Matt Holliday 1-1, MVP Bob Gibson. So I know Pujols 1-1, Goldie's 1-1, but I'm trying to have a good rarity score as well. Phillies and the Dodgers. Rollins. Why? Wait, was Luke Williams on both teams? I can't remember. Luke Williams is a name coming to my head. Silver Slugger for the Dodgers. I don't know if Hanley got one. Did Hanley get one? I'm going to go MVP Robinson. Jackie Robinson. All right, we're going to go Phillies and Cardinals. A former Guardian, Oscar Mercado. I'm almost positive he was on both teams. And then a Silver Slugger for Kemp, Matt Kemp. He's just the first guy who came to my head. That was quick, and my rarity score wasn't that bad. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's MLB recap. We are coming down to the final few games of the season, so make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe so you don't miss any of these recaps, and I'll catch you in the next one.